Hey kids, welcome back to Rob's Red Hotspot and a brand new Let's Play series. I am really excited about this. This is Disco Elysium, which is an indie game made by Zaum, I don't know how you pronounce it, Z-A-U-M, which is a small gaming company. I believe they're based in the Ukraine. This is the first, recently released game I'm going to be playing on this channel. The other series I have, Morrowind, SimCity 4, and Hearts of Iron 3 are much older games, so this is the first game I'm going to play on this channel that I know very, very little about. I've done a little bit of research on the side, but this will be a mostly blind playthrough. I've spent a few hours playing this game, and it is so interesting. It is a role-playing game, but sort of a CRPG style role-playing game, but very different from other role-playing games. And I think the best way for us to discover is to just dive right in. So I'm going to hit new game, and we're going to get going. So, right away we can see that we can play different types of characters. We have these different archetypes to select. We have a thinker, extremely intelligent, very bad with people, knows interesting facts, comes up with original ideas. We have a sensitive character, very psychological, a magnetic personality, but unstable, might begin to lose his mind. And physical character, extremely physical, interacts with the world through his body, gets things done, but dumb as a rock. So right away we can see that the kinds of attributes we have in this are very different from, I don't know, your Baldur's Gate type game. We have intellect, psyche, physique, and motorics. And then we have all these kind of sub-attributes or skills. But I think we're going to create our own character because it's going to be a little bit more interesting. One thing I want to note, though, before I do click this button, is that the characters, these archetype characters, kind of preset characters it's suggesting we select, have some pretty extreme stats. So we can see we've got like a 5 here, a 1 there. Like that's a pretty big difference. And the same thing here, we've got 5, 1, and a 2 and a 4. So we're going to hit create your own character now. And we can see that if we hit, I guess, revert. Okay, it's going to. We can see that we have enough points to put 3 in everything. Now, obviously, I don't want to create a totally neutral character, but I am thinking I want to create a character that is not quite as extreme as some of those archetypes that we're suggesting. So, as you'll discover very quickly with this game, this is not a game of combat. We're not going to be shooting things and stabbing things and jumping around wildly. It is a very psychological game. And it's a lot about talking to characters, exploring the world, talking to yourself, exploring your own minds. It's a bizarre and wonderful, and so far I think this is one of the coolest games I've played in a long time. So I am going to I think I'm going to take a point out of physique with that in mind. I think that I want to focus on some of the aspects of this game that are different than other games, so I don't want to create this kind of physical beast of a character. Although I'm sure you could have a hilarious playthrough of this game. My sense is that you can really play this game any way you want. So let's take a point out of that. And I think I want to create kind of a clever character for sure. So we could put good in intellect. I'm actually kind of liking this. We could. So psyche is sort of how emotionally intelligent we are. I could take a point out of that as well, but I don't think so. I think we're going to go with this. So we're a little bit smarter than your average cookie, but we sort of have this average psyche, weak physique. I'm almost tempted to put this to terrible, but again, I kind of want to avoid extremes. I want to try and explore as many aspects of the game as possible and just give us a slight edge in one area. I don't want to go over this ad nauseum because I just want to dive into the game. I think this is a game that we just have to explore by playing it. It's part of the reason I decided to do a relatively blind playthrough. I really don't know what's in store for us beyond a little bit of research. Okay, and now we get to pick a signature skill. The skill you select will gain a +1 bonus. Additionally, the learning cap for every skill of the same type will be raised by +1. I'm not going to reveal anything about the plot of the game again because I want us to just dive right in, but I will go over these skills because they're really, really interesting. So compared to, again, I think your kind of Baldur's Gate RPG, we can see that the skills are, you know, they're very, very detailed, and they explore kind of different parts of your mind and body and the connection between your mind and body. It's almost like I don't know, a psychologist or a psychiatrist was on the team in this game or something. I'd love to know who came up with these attributes. So within the intellect attribute, I guess this is called, we've got these different aspects. So rather than just have an intelligence stat, we have all these different ways we can be intelligent. Like there's logic here, wield raw intellectual power, deduce the world, and it gives us a little bit more detail here. I don't think I'm going to read through all of these because we're going to discover them as we play the game. But we've got logic, we've got encyclopedia. So this is, I guess, trivia and just knowledge about the world. We've got rhetoric, which is conversation, drama, which is undercover cops, thespians of the stage, psychopaths. So yeah, we got a good sense of what that is. Conceptualization, creative psychedelic fanciers, critics. Visual calculus, this is our kind of Sherlock Holmes skill where we look around the world and I guess kind of deduce things about the physical world using our mind. Volition, sane people, well-adjusted cops, the non-suicidal. So this is our, I guess to some degree, our sort of will to live and self-preservation instinct maybe. Inland Empire, this is one of the most interesting stats in the game. So dreamers, paranatural investigators, mental creators. I'm sure if we select this, we'll have a really wild playthrough. Empathy, that's pretty self-explanatory. Authority, so you know, I think this is kind of maybe a bully character or someone who's going to try and assert themselves. Esprit de corps. On a side note, there's a lot of French in this game. I am bilingual. I live in Quebec, in Montreal, in Canada. I speak French and English fluently, so I'll try and do a little, because this is an English Let's Play, I'll try and do a little bit of translation when we encounter French, because I think it makes the game more interesting. Esprit de corps is sort of kind of like a solidarity. So we play as a police officer, and I think this stat is about our kind of instincts about solidarity between cops. So yeah, at high levels, you'll be the very heart of the police force, not only willing and able, but obliged to take a bullet for your partner. However, without esprit de corps, you'll be flying blind, unable to understand discreet remarks colleagues make in high-stakes situations. So this is kind of our ability to navigate the world of policing and our camaraderie with fellow police officers. An interesting stat. And suggestion, diplomats, charmers, and sociopaths. So this is kind of I guess sort of seduction and charming, and it's kind of related in some ways to rhetoric. Rhetoric is a more cerebral form of the conversation. This is kind of a more emotional, you know, trying to convince people of things. Perhaps manipulation a bit in terms of suggestion and stuff like that. Here we have our physique. Yeah, I guess this category is called physique, and we can see endurance, which is reasonably self-explanatory. Although we also have pain threshold, so it's kind of the more masochistic side of endurance. Physical instruments. This I think in your classic RPG would be your sort of attack stat or something. Muscle men, bare knuckle brawlers, gym teachers. Yeah, there we go. Electrochemistry. This one is just hilarious. High flyers, party enthusiasts, cops who need lightning. Go to party planet, love and be loved by drugs. So this is definitely going to be a PG-13 game, and you know, I think electrochemistry has to do with drugs and alcohol and and our relationship with our body in that way. Shivers, another really interesting, wonderful stat. Cool for city lovers, the wisest of the streetwise, the genuinely supernatural. So this is, I guess, in some ways, Inland Empire here is a kind of an emotional intelligence that has to do with our kind of inner instincts and stuff, and Shivers is kind of a more physical manifestation of that. Half-lights, cool for high-strung investigators, shoot now, ask questions later, cops, surprise haters. So it's your fight or flight response. Another interesting stat. This is where we're kind of driven by fear for self-preservation. Similar, I think, to, in some ways, volition. Volition is a more emotional stability. Half-light is perhaps sort of physical instincts of self-preservation. And then we have these kind of agility. This is motorics, yeah. So we have hand-eye coordination. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Perception is also somewhat self-explanatory, although I think it kind of crosses over with visual calculus up here, which is a more intellectual version of this stat or skill. And that's, again, I think that's another aspect of this game that's really interesting, is the overlap between all of these. And I'll talk about that more as we progress through the game. A reaction speed. But I think this has to do with a physical reaction speed, but also a kind of intellectual reaction speed where we're able to think quickly. Savoir-faire, another French term, and savoir-faire means sort of knowing how to do things smoothly. Having good instincts, and so not only it says acrobats, thieves, and unbearable show-offs, and that's another interesting thing here. If we set any of these skills too high, we're actually going to have negative effects. Just like if we're kind of a pedantic know-it-all encyclopedia, that's going to get on other people's nerves. Just like if we're kind of a show-off, and this is a sort of physical show-off kind of acrobatic type of thing. Interfacing. Cool for machinists, tinkerers, instrument players, master machines, pick locks and pockets. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. And composure. Straighten your back, keep your poker face. Card players, military fetishists, and cool people. So that's another aspect here. I think that I am going to pick rhetoric. Rhetoric urges you to debate, make an intellectual discourse, nitpick, and win. It enables you to break down arguments and hear what people are really saying. You'll spot fallacies as soon as they're used. What exactly did the waiter leave out of their testimony? What was the dancer trying to divert you from? Was that a double entendre intended, or did you get an accidental lead? At high levels, rhetoric will make you an impressive political beast, one whose beliefs are impenetrable, which is to say, one whose mind will not change, one who will calcify. With low rhetoric, though, you'll have a hard time shooting down any argument. Nailing people to their testimonies will be nigh impossible. Anyway, I'm not going to read. I think this will be an interesting stat because we're going to be as you'll see in this game, we spend a lot of time in conversation with people. And so I think it'll be interesting. It'll sort of open up some interesting dialogue options. I will say, though, that I think a lot of this is really open to interpretation. So yeah, I don't think we need to get too hung up on our actual choice here, and we'll be able to make other choices later if we kind of don't like where this leads us. How do I? Oh, there we go. Set signature, intellect base +4. So yeah, we're gonna set that as our signature, and that gives us an extra point in there. So yeah, I'm not sure how much we can increase these stats, but I know that we can increase all of them, even the ones that are not our signature, or that we don't have high what is this? A high level in the attribute or whatever. Anyway, let's get started. So we'll confirm that. I'm going to try and avoid talking over any voice acting. There is some voice acting in this game, and there will also be some of me reading text. But let's begin.
There is nothing. Only warm primordial blackness. Your conscious ferments in it. No larger than a single grain of malt. You don't have to do anything anymore. Ever. Never, ever.
Alright, so we have 2 dialogue options here. I want to just take this opportunity to say that this is going to be a lot of the game, so it's sort of like when you know, if you've played something like Baldur's Gate, where you end up with a lot of dialogue options. I'm not going to agonize over these choices, so I'm not going to go into depth with all these choices, but I'll try and pick choices that that I think kind of suit the kind of character that I'm kind of creating. All right, let's see here.
An inordinate amount of time passes. It is utterly void of struggle. No ex-wives are contained within it.
Wait, what was that about X something?
An awareness creeps up on you. A mass lies hidden in your dead angle, soaking in some lurid acidic sauce. It's bloated and shameful, a ball of meat surrounding you. This is a terrible line of questioning, and it will only lead to more awareness of the meat thing.
So, this little intro, I think, is introducing us to one of the mechanics of the game. We're talking with ourself here, so we can see that this is our choices as the player, and then we've got this ancient reptilian brain that's talking to us, and then we've got this limbic system, which is, I guess, more our physical body. I think we'll plunge back into the fathomless deep.
No ball of meat. No light in the formless nothing. Just night swimming.
Why don't we just say I like nothing?
I know you do, baby. I know.
How about you cough up some more of that sweet oblivion?
Coming right up, sir. Smooth passage.
Well, allons-y, let's go.
Alright, nothing down to fuck all borough.
A return trip to the silence, please.
Do you want me to upgrade that to a one-way trip, sir?
Oh, this is getting real dark. Wait, no, I need to belittle myself instead.
Do you really?
I do, let me off.
You wouldn't like it if I told you what was back there. Why'd you think you had to bludgeon yourself into oblivion? Or did you not sense yourself marinating? Poured so much over yourself, got a bit carried away, did we, Chef?
Fear and apprehension. You should ask what's out there first. Wait, I did this to myself? That's our inland empire talking, by the way. So that's the first time that one of the kind of parts of our mind or our skills start talking to us, basically. Wait, I did this to myself?
Yes, your one disco mother.
The writing in this game is just epically good. Alright, tell me, what's waiting for me?
There's this giant ball there, in evil apes. And the evil apes are juking it out on the ball. You're one of them. It's basically all just evil apes juking it out on a giant ball.
Well, I guess this is an allegory for the world and the people in it. How big is the ball?
Can't even make out it's a ball when you're juking it out. It's that large.
And how small are the apes?
Infinitesimally small.
And this duking it out I keep hearing about, what's that?
Vying for resources. It's a stupid expression you picked up somewhere. The part of the presentation you want to take home with you is this. You have to beat the other evil apes in the face, or you lose.
Oh, that's sad.
Yes, it is. And you drowned in that sadness a long time ago.
What do you mean, drowned?
You lost.
The sound outside, you recognize it. It's a Cuprous Kanema motor carriage. And we open our eyes. Here we are, this is the world of Disco Elysium. We are a middle-aged, sad sack of shit with a hangover, wearing nothing but underwear. So this is basically how a lot of this game is going to look. This kind of beautiful watercolor isometric view, again in the kind of Baldur's Gate genre. Time does not pass as we walk around the world. We can sort of click here and walk around. That doesn't pass time. Time only passes when we're in conversation. I can hold tab here, and this is all the items we can interact with. And yeah, let's start walking around the world. So I think might be good to get some pants on. We can take these pants, flare cut trousers. We can see here that when we wear different clothing, it affects those stats. So it's increased our electrochemistry, and it's reduced our savoir-faire. And we'll keep on trying to get dressed here. Oh, thoughts. You hear a jingle. Keys are clinking in the pocket of your flare-cut pants. So that's our perception hearing, I guess. Often when we interact with objects, we'll then interact with our own head because we have thoughts about what we've just interacted with. Fish them out. It says whirling in rags on the aluminum key ring. There is a single key on the ring, the number 1 is etched on it. It should open the door. So we're starting to reconstruct our world here after a brutal night of drinking. So I can see a shirt hanging on the shower curtain rod. I'll take that. White satin shirt, which I guess is giving us... This white satin shirt used to be fancy. It used to really catch the light. Now it smells like someone took a piss in the armpits. Hilarious. That's giving us +1 conceptualization, a real statement to wear, and -1 suggestion because of its unsavory odor. Alright. There's a jacket here. Disco ass blazer. Looks like someone skinned this blazer off some long extinct disco animal. It is the enigmatic white rectangle on the back and the right sleeve, and that's giving us esprit de corps, halogen watermarks. So I guess it kind of makes us look and feel more like a cop. Let's see here. We got lots of other stuff we can do. You know, I'm curious. I almost want to try. Let's see what's in the bathtub. Maybe we should get undressed and see if we can actually take a bath. You see bottles in the bathtub, wine, beer, and sweet liqueurs. Can we... Is it possible to take all these clothes off and maybe we get a different option when we interact with the bath? Find out. No. Oh, well, okay. Well, let's get dressed again. I can see a tie on this fan here. We're going to interact with the fan. The fan has 2 chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light bulb. A truly horrific necktie has somehow attached itself to one of the blades. So this is our first check, skill check. There are passive skill checks that happen as we're just interacting, so we won't see certain things if we don't have high enough perception. We won't be given certain dialogue options if we don't have high enough skills. So we can try and grab the tie, but there's a good chance we're not going to succeed at that. And so let's turn the fan off. The blade comes squeaking to a halt. It should be easier to reach the tie now. Now we see right away we've got 83% chance. So let's grab the tie. And we have success. If you can save scum this game and retry every check a bunch of times. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just accept. When we fail at things, we're just going to accept it and move on. You swoop up and catch the tie. Snap. It's released from the blade. So we've gained the horrific necktie. What you have in your hand is a truly hideous necktie with 4 or 5 different patterns. The knot reminds you of a noose. Very dark. We could turn the light on, although I think we have a pretty brutal hangover, so maybe we'll just leave for now. Alright, what's going on here? We got a bottle on the floor. This magnum-sized bottle of Commodore Red is empty. What's going on here? Empty cassette case. There used to be a tape in this case, but it was destroyed in a fit of rage. Something about Etenier's single, smallest church in Saint-Saëns must have rubbed someone the wrong way. The label says the song was recorded in '43. Looks like someone tore out the tape while the song was playing. This reel-to-reel tape player is still on, rolling empty. Well, oh, there's a shoe hanging on the coat hanger. Presumably ours as well. One of the things I love about this game is you start off with this character and it allows you to create a character from scratch because you're so hungover you've forgotten who you are. And I think that's a brilliant way to start a game. Like, you know, a lot of these RPGs, you jump into the middle of a character who's already got a backstory, and you know, you've kind of got to suspend your disbelief to create a character from scratch. But this game gives us a compelling reason to create a character from scratch. Green left shoe. Alright, we need to find the other shoe. And all that remains is to find the other shoe. Well, we got a broken window here. The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind blows in. Alright, we've got a visual calculus check. Oh, by the way, there's two kinds of checks. There are white checks and red checks. Red checks, we can only try once. White checks, we can come back and try again if we have higher skills. Anyway, let's try and assess the damage. And pass the check. The shards face outward. Whatever broke this window came from the inside. Did I break it with my own hands? Look at our hands. Visual calculus. A vine web of scarring covers the back of your right hand, but none of it recent. What did this then? More likely a projectile than a held object. There are no fragments on the floor from pulling a tool back in after impact. Assess the size of the impact. It's too large for a bullet, yet too small for a piece of furniture. You're looking for something heavy and larger than your fist. The single green shoe you found fits the hole almost as well as your foot. It would have been heavy enough if thrown with force. Congratulations, you smashed the window with your own shoe. Now you only have one. If you're lucky, you can still find the other on the balcony outside. The door to it should be outside your room. I should go get that shoe. There we go, we got some experience. So this is how we're going to gain experience in this game, by interacting with the worlds, looking at objects. By the way, this is kind of highlighted because of our visual calculus skill. We kind of see the world in a different light when we're looking at it using that skill. A cool wind gushes in, your toes curl up from the cold. Alright. I'm gonna go, there's one last thing we can check here. When things are highlighted in white, that means that there's we can't access them right now. So we can see this door is locked. Let's look at the mirror. A mirror hangs above a bent and broken sink. In a fierce discharge of masculine energy, someone has ripped half the faucet off. Hot water sprays from the base and steam covers the mirror. You cannot see yourself, just the outline of a man. Suddenly you realize you have no memory of the face that awaits you here, underneath the soft vapor. Really? Nothing? Really, all recollection of the person you are, the people in your life, and even the world you're in, has drowned in a sea of blood alcohol. This was no mere night of drinking, it was a deluge of world-ending proportions. So yeah, we're starting to get a little bit of the little backstory that we know. Well, we can wipe the mirror. As you slowly reach your hand towards the surface of the mirror, our inland empire says, "Abort! You clearly have not thought this through. You won't like what you will see there, and you can never unbecome it." Maybe I should touch it first, make sure there's nothing wrong with my face. Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with it. How bad could it be? Where to even begin? There's the bloatedness, then the swollenness. It's like there's an upholstery of alcohol underneath your skin. At least my tongue is okay. It's not. It's swollen and snail-like, wriggling between your fingers. I'm sure everything is fine. It's not. Your nose feels like a balloon in the middle of your face. It hurts when you honk it. It doesn't appear to be particularly small nose either, not with all the drinks it's absorbed for you. Alright, well, let's wipe the mirror, see what the damage is. And we see our face. Behold. You have no idea who this thing is, do you? Dear Lord, help me, what is this? Whatever it is, at least it's dead now. There's clearly rigor mortis on your face. Or wait, is that an expression? Are you trying to make an expression with that face? I'm not making it, the face is making itself. Please stop, it's horrible, you're scaring yourself. Oh my god, you can't stop. It's like not even voluntary anymore. You have worn that grin into your face and now it won't come off. What does it even mean? What is this emotion you're trying to convey? I'm insinuating that I'm vaguely sympathetic. I think I'm sort of pulling it off too, in a sad has-been kind of way. There's some charm to it. There might have been 10 years ago. It's little more than a cadaverous spasm now. These are pretty low checks. These are white checks, though. We can retry these. This is not going to happen. Let's try dig deep into your mind and locate the source of the expression. And we failed. I think we'll let the mirror be for now. Oh yeah, we've got a task. Our first mission. Find our other shoe. God, this game is hilarious. Alright, well, I think we'll leave the mirror be and come back to that later. Let's head outside. That looks like we've got a radio making noise here. Maybe we can head over and try this balcony. Must be here, right? Something on the table. So we gained 0.4, looks like 40 cents basically. The currency is real. Oh, we've have a thought. The smell of the sea makes you dizzy. Well, there's the shoe. What's our thought here? A gust of briny wind washes over you. Well, let's take the shoe. Task complete. Find your other shoe. There they both are. Two identical shoes, both copiously green and indiscriminately snakeskin, reunited on your feet. Like two baby crocodiles. Conceptualization. Really cool stat. How do they fit? Good, they're balanced, comfy. Feels like the only good thing about you right now, truth be told. So this is giving us now, we're wearing both shoes. It's giving us composure but less savoir-faire. I guess they're not that, they have ridiculously high heels. Oh man. Wearing this kind of disco outfit. Let's go back inside.
Hello, officer.
Calendar says it's March, the year is 51. Clausia, Miss Orange Disco Dancer. The young woman raises a cigarette to her lips. Perception tells us that her eyes are brown and her face is speckled with birthmarks. She can't be more than 28. Officer, am I military personnel?
No.
Then why did you call me officer?
Because you're a police officer, sir.
You're shitting me.
I'm not. Unless you've been shitting us all this time.
All this time?
You've been here for 3 days. On official police business, no less.
And what business is
I
that?
couldn't say. In truth, so far, mostly drinking.
This is a red check, so we could try and use our powers of suggestion to essentially try and hit on her, but we can only do this once, so if we try this, we'll never, I don't think we'll be able to try it again. So let's not do that. Why don't I remember being a cop or anything else? Could be because of the drinking. She raises an eyebrow, the cigarette sizzles. Who in their right mind would let me be an officer of the law? Don't be so harsh on yourself. They let almost anyone be a police officer. Alright.
Of course. Be careful, officer. They don't like the police around here.
So our reaction speed, something stirs in you as she's about to go. Call it an instinct, a need, the need to ask questions. It's like you've said the words a million times before. She looks back at you, a light glinting off her eyes. Before you go, I have some questions for you. Where exactly is here? Where am I? You're in a hostel, sir. No, where are we? Where in the world? We are in Revacol. The load screen just told me how to pronounce that, and I already forgot it, but there you go. Encyclopedia. Revacol is the disgraced former capital of the world, divided into zones of control under foreign occupation. Half a century after a failed world revolution, she is central to our moment in time. So the encyclopedia skill, I guess part of the reason I wanted to have a high intellect character is that if we want to get information on the lore of this world, we're going to need this skill. Yeah. Revacol forever. Forever and ever. And ever and ever. Out of the corner of your eye, you see the hair on the back of your hand standing on end. It feels as though low-grade lightning is coursing through you. You must be hypersensitive from the hangover. We could ask what year it is, but we just saw on the calendar. Your room is almost next to mine. Did you hear anything last night? There was the usual ruckus, she shrugs. Loud disco music. Did I have any visitors? I couldn't say. It's impossible to hear people speaking from over here. She nods towards room number 3. Loud disco music? Oh yes, various artists. Ostentatious orchestrations, prime among them. She raises an eyebrow, waiting for the name to connect with you. Oh, that. Yeah, woo. The less said about OO, the better. OO were huge where I come from. I was very young then, of course, like 7. Life gets hard, she sings, but we go on. It mostly just gets hard, doesn't it? It would appear so. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped. There was a change of pace. What happened? A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat, that went on for quite a while. Some of the time you were yelling along with it. Was I singing this? Show her the empty case of the smallest church in Saint-Saëns. Yes, there was a church in there, a really small church, like the smallest, saddest church in the whole world. It was about that, and also, what else? That it doesn't matter anymore, and that we are alone now. It was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a wounded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on top of it. Sorry. Don't be. I was going out later anyway. It didn't bother me. Then what happened? Then you started screaming and trashed the place. Are you sure I wasn't being assaulted? No, it didn't sound like there was a fight. It sounded like someone was trashing the room. A window was smashed, the tape player probably, the song stopped, and furniture too. A real destructathon. There was screaming. Then I think you passed out. Please tell me there wasn't anything else. There was. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable. I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then. Around 4 or 5, she nods. And that was it. Huh. One of the things in this game is we are going to want to interact with as many objects as possible and talk with as many people as possible. But unlike a lot of games, we don't want to exhaust every possible conversation. So if I see conversation options, dialogue options that I think are kind of out of character, or that I just personally don't want to investigate, I'm going to leave them. I'm going to let them be, because if we say too many things to people, we can upset them. We can, we can do all sorts of things, and so I think it's better if we don't click all these. So yeah, let's go.
Glad to have been of assistance.
All right. Okay, so we've got these are the map part of the journal tells us checks that we can retry. These are found white checks. Those on white are available to try now. Can we try the mirror again? Is that what that's saying? Wow. Well, we've increased our, I think we've increased our encyclopedia. I can try that again. Ah! Success. The expression on our face. It belongs to the new, the third decade of the current century. Enough time had passed from the failure of the revolution that, for a fleeting moment, free market economies seemed like the ultimate uncontested way of life for our species. Okay? Things were good. It was smooth sailing. People made golden champagne-tinted interiors and facades to suit the times, calling this the new style. But more importantly, disco happened. Forget about ostentatious orchestrations. For Revicol, your city, that meant only one thing: Guillaume le Million. If it doesn't rhyme, you're not pronouncing it right. Out of the dazzling swirl of disco music, in an open-air boîte de nuit, which means nightclub in French, somewhere in Revicol West, Guillaume's blonde mane appeared on the screen. He sang some bullshit, then he made the expression. So I adopted it. Why? Everyone loved it. Maybe you thought some of the stardust would rub off on you. Maybe it did. Either way, it's all gone now. Only the grimace remains. I guess that's it then. It doesn't have to be. You can swoon over Guillaume and his champagne cork smile whenever you want. Maybe some of the stardust will return. Let the mirror be for now. Yeah, so we're sort of this washed up, middle-aged guy who likes music from decades ago and kind of dresses like out of date and stuff as well. This is our thought cabinet. This is one of the ways we can work on skills. So I guess we can when we gain new thoughts, we can either internalize them and it will help us in certain ways, or in this case it will actually reduce our logic. So it's whatever. So we have, like, basically we can, as time passes, we gain skill in these thoughts. We can only have a certain number of them active, and these are some of the thoughts that we'll encounter in the game. Whatever happened to Guillaume le Million, who, with his amber mane and sparkling teeth, beguiled the tattered remains of the nation? While you suffered and suffered, did he dematerialize in a cloud of cocaine dust, or did he simply stand in the corner and melt into the slendering new lines of some starlit boîte de nuit 20 years ago? Spare a thought for his great ass, too. Or wait, maybe he became a police officer in Revicol West. I don't know. Not sure if we should internalize this one or not. It says -1 logic, head in the clouds. I think we'll leave that be for now. Again, I really don't know, guys. I have not played much of this game, just a couple of hours. All right, I do want to kind of interact with everything here. Looks like she left a nice long stub in the ashtray. It's still smoking. I think we might be able to knock on her door, although it seems like we shouldn't bother her. What have we got here? This is the weekend edition of the satirical newspaper Trompe le Monde, which means fool the world. Nothing on the front page rings a bell. Strange. Let's head downstairs. we've emerged from a squalid room. We found our clothes, and we're now on the ground floor of what looks like some kind of hotel. I think I'm going to leave it at this for this episode. Next episode, we're going to dive right in and figure out what this game's all about. But hope you're as excited about this new series as I am. It's going to be a whole world of discovery with this new game, which I have very little knowledge of. And yeah, if you enjoy this, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and we'll see what awaits us. Thanks for watching. Ciao.